chapter 2 on supply chain management will cover 5 things. First, the management of supply chain. Second, green supply chain. Third, information technology, a supply chain enabler. Fourth, supply chain integration. And finally, supply chain management software. Right. So, what is supply chain? All facilities, functions, and activities associated with flow and transformations of goods and services from raw materials to customer, as well as the associated information flow. So, an integrated group of process to source, make, and deliver products. Okay, I'm sure that you do not understand what does that sentence say. So, let me tell you in layman terms what is supply chain. Okay, let's say you are a manufacturer of pineapple jam. Okay, as a manufacturer of pineapple jams, what do you think the raw materials needed to produce pineapple jam? You can speak up or you can answer in chat as well. Yes, Halimatun, did you say something?
Pineapple.
Sorry?
Pineapple.
Obviously, pineapple. What about other things?
Sugar.
Things or food or ingredients?
Food
Sugar.
coloring.
Again? Sugar, yes. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Food coloring. Anything else? Glass bottle, yes. What else? Jar. Recipe. So recipe is exactly, it's not a raw material, it's how do we produce the jam. Okay. We may need some chemical to make the pineapple jam last longer. That's why if you see many bottles or can or packed foods, it has long due date because they put some chemical to make the foods or the drinks last. Okay, and then you guys mentioned about jars or bottles. That means we also need packaging label. Okay, and then perhaps when you sell, because you are a manufacturer, you're going to distribute or sell your pineapple jams to distributor, meaning that perhaps you're going to need boxes to transport your pineapple jams from your warehouse to the distribution center or distribution warehouse. Okay, so basically those are the basic things you need to produce pineapple jams. So if you look in this diagram, so as I explain what supply chain is, I will also explain based on this diagram as well. Okay, so the first thing you need all this. Where do you go? Where do you gonna get all the pineapple, sugar, all the chemical bottles, the labels? Where you gonna get it?
Supplier.
Sorry, tak dengar.
Supplier.
Yes, supplier. So all these you can get from suppliers. So suppliers, there are 3 tiers of suppliers. So let's say we're talking in this case in pineapple jam making. So supplier 1 could be the farmer who planted pineapple. Okay, and then the farmer might be selling its pineapple to a seller, to a buyer. So this buyer, dia jual kepada another level of seller. So you as manufacturer will buy from tier 1 punya supplier. So very often manufacturer tak pergi cari dekat kebun. Kan dia akan beli pineapple tu daripada those who actually sell the pineapple. Sebab pekebun dia just some pekebun who are not very, bukan yang dia biasa dia akan jual kepada another seller. So and then seller tu yang akan jual kepada another seller and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's why we have 3 tiers of supplier. Okay, sama juga dengan bottles, sugars, but in some cases tak semestinya certain raw material tu will have to go through 3 level of suppliers, 3 tier of suppliers. In certain cases or in certain raw materials, you can just get it from the tier 1 supplier. So it depends on the materials, on your budget. Okay, so when you get all the raw materials, it goes into the factory and you start to manufacturing it. Okay, so you start manufacturing it, and then all this process, yeah, there are informations involved. Okay, information involved from how many tons or kilograms. Biasanya kalau manufacturer, we talking about apa ni, large volume. So you may need tons of pineapples to produce pineapple jams. Okay, and then here when you purchase all the raw materials from suppliers, there'll be information, there'll be processes like requesting information, how much do you charge for a 1 ton of pineapple, and then let's say you agree to buy, how much you're going to charge. Are you going to be my supplier for 2 years? Are we going to lock in you as a supplier for 2 years, or is it just one time? So when we talk about manufacturing, usually in order to make sure they are able to manufacture the pineapple jams throughout the year, they will like make sure that their supplies are not being cut off. So usually what they do is this is what we call as lock-in supply, where actually manufacturer will lock in the supplier. For example, for 2 years you're going to be my supplier, and perhaps for the 2 years maybe the price will only increase for certain percentage only. Okay, so that is a lot of information actually taking place, lots of process, and there are transactions happening there. So this is why we need supply chain management to manage all these informations and to make sure informations are not being mistaken, transaction can get through. Alright, so because we're talking in large volume pineapple jams, yeah. Alright, so again, when suppliers send their raw materials, depending on the locations, they might be use lorry, train, pengangkutan darat. Okay, if the suppliers comes from overseas, you may need to use a kapal or aeroplane. Okay, as the logistics to carry the supplies to the manufacturer, to you. Okay, so again, this is another kind of information that are involved in purchasing supplies, in getting supplies. Okay, so when you manufacture, you manage to produce, yeah. Okay, at the end of the month, perhaps you produce like maybe 30,000 of bottle pineapple jam. So are you going to straight away sell it to kedai runcit? No, because you are the manufacturer. We are talking about big scales punya manufacturer, bukan yang micro punya. So you're going to have to send it or sell it to distribution or distributor. So distributor, they will have a distribution center, ataupun sometimes we call it warehouse pun is acceptable juga. So again, there's logistic involved, okay, whether darat or udara. Okay, meaning that here it's the same thing. There are data and information going through and forth between a manufacturer and distributor and logistics. And of course, when the manufacturer sell it to distribution center, meaning there are transactions. And when manufacturer wants to ship or send the pineapple jam to the distribution center, logistics are involved in carrying that pineapple jams, meaning that there are data and information and also transaction takes place because the manufacturer have to pay all these logistic companies to take all the pineapple jams to the distribution center. Okay, and then at the distribution center, they will actually sell the pineapple jams to various stores. Okay, so here actually there's another level of logistics involved, another level of data, information, and transactions involved. And at the store is where the customer come and buy your pineapple. So basically, this whole thing from purchasing, acquiring raw materials until the products, the end products reach to customers or being bought by customers, the entire thing is called as supply chain. Okay, faham?
Faham,
Faham
madam?
tak?
Faham, madam?
Right. Okay. So this is the same thing in the next diagram. This is the same thing, the same case here with denim jeans. Nak produce seluar jeans. Okay. So the tier 3 cotton supplier, seluar denim itu comes from cotton, yeah. Okay, comes from China, USJ. It can come from Mexico, India, and then cotton. Bila dapat cotton tu, it has to be dyed, kena colour. Okay. And then it's being sent to tier 2, yang mana people like manufacturer produce the jeans. So perlukan benang, okay. There are processes, and then benang datang dari China, right? Then it's being sent to distributor. Then you see when we talk about data informations, we use a system here to make sure that all the informations are being recorded and tracked. Okay, then here is when actually the jeans are being produced and being sent to distributor, okay, via all the logistics, and also sent to global store ataupun retail store, where perhaps all over, especially if you are talking about jeans dengan yang international brand, it might be sending to various countries. Okay, so if you look at the computer, this one says shipping, this one says inventory, this one says demand, and then if you look at the previous one, it says produce, grow, and schedule. So basically here is during production, the system will track how the production process are, all the planned production process are according to what is planned. So usually when the raw materials comes in, the production will have certain date. Okay, by this date kita start buat pocket, this date kita cantumkan seluar, this date kita letak zip, and then we pack it, and then we send it. So those are the dates that are being planned in order to produce the new jeans. So we need system to make sure that all of what we plan is according to the date that is supposed to be lah. And then here is schedule. This is schedule for logistic, because again logistic is not like, you know, especially we are talking about macam kapal or overseas, kapal terbang. It's not like we calling Grab, call terus sampai, or at least wait for 10 to 15 minutes sampai. No, when we talk about logistic, shipping things, it has its own schedule. It doesn't travel every day, every time. So you have to make sure that all these denim jeans sampai dekat pelabuhan ataupun airport at the right time before the shipping takes place. On the next diagram, so shipping, this is the shipping schedule, and then inventory in distribution center or distribution warehouse, they have to keep track of the inventory coming in and going out. Okay, kalau tak track, nanti you will never know how much actually the jeans that you buy or is in stock. It's very hard for you to calculate all your costs and profits. So every single thing must be recorded accordingly. Alright, so when it reaches to the customer or to the retail stores, it must have prediction system. This is part of supply chain management system. Yang all I'm saying in shipping, into inventory, demand, this is all part of supply chain management system. Demand is where actually we try to predict the customer demands of these denim jeans, and basically for all products lah, not just for denim jeans, sebab ni gambar denim jeans kan. So these are the things that supply chain management system can do and should do. Okay, so basically supply chain process, they involve procurement from your source, macam you buy raw materials from your suppliers, and then this is where production make the products, and then it distribute and deliver to distribution center, and finally to the customer. So if you see that all these are intertwined, procurement, production, distribution, source, make, deliver, information, all intertwine with each other and information goes along all of processes, which shows that in supply chain processes it's very important to make sure all the informations regarding the transactions, inventory. Inventory is not just the end product inventory. Like when your supply comes in, let's say you punya sugar, you punya pineapple, you punya jars come in, you punya dabble comes in. You have to keep track how many you have purchased, how many you have actually received, and how many have been used. So all this counts as, it's important to count because you have to put it into your costing. And then if you have the correct information of the cost, the raw materials that are involved in producing your pineapple jams, therefore you can actually calculate properly on your costing. And also from there, when you sell those pineapple jams, you know how much money that you make. Do not forget, along the way, we have people who make and make all these processes comes real, meaning that you have human resource, you ada tenaga manusia that are involved in all supply chain process. So we have to calculate them as our cost as well, sebab you pay gaji pekerja. And of course, other costs as well. Your machinery, your devices, your system, your utilities, those are all counted as costs, and also it's part of information. So therefore, we have to put it in the supply chain management system. Alright. So supply chain, although I keep talking about manufacturing, but supply chain is more complex than just manufacturing because it involves the processes of producing the things that you want to produce from A until Z. Okay, supply chain for service providers, they does not focus on the flow of physical goods only. It focuses on the flow of the physical goods, the data, informations that comes along the way. And also it focuses on human resources and support as well, like I mentioned. And then it's more compact and less extended because we have when we have system, it is like the process are more clearer, and it's simplified. Not really like simplified in the sense it's simple, but it is simplified compared to not having any system. Right, so what is value chains? Okay, so people use these two terms interchangeably, but exactly value chain and supply chain are not entirely the same. Value chain, we talk about every step from raw materials to the eventual end user, whereas supply chain, we talk about activities that get the raw materials and sub-assemblies into manufacturing operations. So basically, value chain is talking about what are the maximum value that you can deliver to your end user who buy your products based on a good supply chain. Alright, so supply chain ultimate goal, this is where it is the same to provide the ultimate value as the value chain. So basically, supply chain is about activities, getting raw materials until the product reach to the customer. But the value chain, we talk about what are the value that can be gained throughout the process. What perhaps the value can be maximum efficiency. That is one of the value. And then if you achieve maximum efficiency in all of the process in supply chain, meaning that you eliminate error, eliminate miscalculations, misinformations, and therefore when you eliminate all these things, you actually can minimize the cost. So when you minimize the cost, but you are still producing products that with good quality, then you can sell it at a reasonable price to your customers, meaning that that is one of example of value. Producing good quality products and selling it at a reasonable price to customer. So that would be your actually value chain. But again, it depends on organizations. Some organizations have different, ultimate value, ultimate goal that they want to deliver to customers. Especially when I talk about, for example, just now, selling pineapple jams at reasonable price for customers. Some organizations may have different value. Perhaps they want to deliver premium quality product, and that premium quality product is a bit expensive. but it's okay as long as customer gets the best premium product available. Okay, perhaps in the sense of pineapple, maybe very high quality pineapple are being used, labeling and the jar are green friendly, are sustainable, so those things are a bit costly. So in the end, you cannot sell the pineapple jams at a reasonable price. Perhaps you have to sell it a bit more expensive, because your cost involve all the premium things, so that maybe your value, the one that you want customer to achieve or to receive, is a premium quality jam. Do you get what I'm saying?
Boleh, Madam.
Alright. Okay, so value chains also can be said as demand chain, where you have to understand, okay, as a manufacturer, how do you know how many products should you produce at the end of every month, for example, monthly? We don't know unless we can do forecasting. You study before you actually start your manufacturing, you set up your company, you start to study, do market research. Okay, market research, you can do it yourself, or you can hire any consultant to do it for you. But basically, you try to understand the customer behavior towards pineapple jam. How many people like to buy pineapple jam? So from there, you can make a predictions that how many bottles or how many jars of pineapple jams that you should produce at the end of the month, which can actually give you profit. Okay, so that's why we say also value chain as a part of demand chain, because it's all interrelated. Okay, so basically value chain is important because the creation of value for customer is the important aspect of supply chain. So when you can create good value for customer in your products, a customer will come back and buy your products. So basically, that's how it becomes an important aspect of supply chain. All right. So this is what I said just now. If you manage to maintain or manage your information flow throughout the entire supply chain process, meaning that everyone or every party in that supply chain, suppliers, all tiers of suppliers, logistics, manufacturer, distributor and retailers, the informations are in sync. So there's no miscommunications. Therefore, you will be able to lower the cost in producing your pineapple jams, pet jams. So basically, the 4 keys to effective supply chain management among every parties who are involved in SCM are informations, communications, cooperations, and trust. So basically, all parties that are involved in supply chain must have these 4 elements in order to make supply chain management more effective. So the major objective of supply chain management is to respond to uncertainty in customer demand without creating costly excess inventory. So there are in certain scenario, although we have done prediction behavior, or basically a projection of how many pineapple jams that customers will buy, but there are in certain situation there will be changes in your prediction. For example, macam bulan puasa, perhaps people don't eat jam so much because we all, when it's Ramadan, there are certain food that we like to eat, and there are certain food that we eat for the rest of 11 months we do not eat during Ramadan. Kan? So perhaps not many people like to eat roti dengan jam masa bulan puasa. Alright? So that cause like a drop in pineapple jams punya pembelian. Okay. But perhaps the month before Ramadan, maybe people are there's a spike in buying pineapple jams because they are like perhaps Kuih Raya punya baker, they use your pineapple jam for their jam tart, for example. Kan, some make their pineapple tart tu sendiri the jam tu, but some might buy from you. So when we have a good supply chain, all right, we will able to cater all these changes, unpredicted changes, uncertainty. Okay, but however, if we do not have a good supply chain, they will have issues like the lateness of delivery of pineapple jams, or perhaps your retailers order, I want like 100 bottles of jams this month. You won't be able to complete that order to produce 10 or 100, sorry, hundreds of bottles of jams for them, because you are not able to manage your supply chain management. And also because of these changes, because you are not ready to deal with the changes in your supply chain, therefore you have lack of inventory perhaps, and then but somehow there's insurance, yeah, against supply chains uncertainty. Okay, so when we talk about uncertainty, there are many factors that can cause to uncertainty in supply chain. Okay, inaccurate demand forecasting, like ini what we talked just now, and then long variable lead times. Perhaps supposedly when you are supposed to produce a certain amount of pineapple jams within 25 days, but somehow somewhere got stuck. Perhaps your supplies datang lambat, you start manufacturing lambat, or perhaps your machinery break down, so it takes time to be fixed. So therefore, it causes to long variable lead times, which means lambat nak produce jams. Okay, and then therefore bila dah lambat produce jam, your normal schedule of delivery or shipping of your pineapple jams kepada distribution center akan jadi lambat juga. And perhaps because lambat juga, tak cukup you punya number of pineapple jams. Okay, and then maybe it can cause like product changes, meaning that there's a demand that, you know, we do not want just pineapple jams, we want strawberry jam as well. So you start planning for strawberry jam. So when there's changes in your manufacturing plan, it may affect your supply chain management. And then some retailers or distribution, they do not, you know, consistently order your products, but they just do it in batch ordering. And then price fluctuations, that again depends in the economy. Yang itu we cannot control. Kalau tiba-tiba economy negara changes, whether it's drop, kan, and then so there's a price fluctuations there. And then sometimes there's discounts that is not being planned. Okay, and then inflated orders. Order terlalu banyak, you cannot cater. So this can cause to supply chain uncertainty and inventory. Okay, so another scenario that you need to know in supply chain inventory adalah bullwhip effect. So bullwhip effect occurs when slight demand variability is magnified as information moves upstream. So for example, let's say your pineapple jam are in a retailer shop, and then there are many people coming to buy your pineapple jams, and then baru separuh bulan pineapple jams you dah habis dekat retailer shops. So the retailers inform the distributor that, oh, 100 jar is not enough for a month. We need actually 200 because separuh bulan je dah habis. And then after that, people still keep looking for the pineapple jam, right? So I need more next month, perhaps another 100, make it 200. So that's what retailers inform distributor, and then distributor pula bagi tahu dekat you, kat manufacturer. Oh, they are like your pineapple jams are in high demand, separuh bulan dah habis. So retailers want, instead of 100 jar a month, they want us to send them is 300 jams. Sebab ada demand. Dia separuh bulan dah habis. So jadi manufacturer bila dengar, oh 300 maknanya like all retailers nak 300. So okay, dia pun start ordering more supplies daripada supplier. Selalunya you always manufacture like 100 jams, 100 bottles for many retailers, for each of the retailers. So because of each of the retailers need 300, you start producing more. Okay, so that is bullwhip effect where the actual number has been magnified throughout upstream daripada retailer to distributor to manufacturer, and manufacturer pun start ordering more lah, all the supplies from supplier. Okay, that is a bullwhip effect. But that's the thing about bullwhip effect is that it's not accurate. The number magnifies. Retailer tadi cakap nak 200 je, tapi distributor tell the manufacturer, I want 300 for each retailers. So that's how bullwhip effect happens. And then what the downside of bullwhip effect is that because the number is not accurate, it's being magnified, and then when manufacturer produce that pineapple jams based on that numbers that has been magnified, kemudian bila hantar balik, jual balik kat retail, kat distributor jual kat retailer, and then at the end of the month still ada pineapple jam yang tak laku di kedai. Okay, this is bullwhip effect. Okay, so far so good.
Okay, madam.
Alright. Okay, risk pooling. So risk pooling adalah are you seeing risk pooling dekat you punya screen?
No, madam.
Masih bullwhip effect ya?
Miss.
Okay, it is not moving. Sekejap ya. Alright, it's forever. Okay, so risk pooling adalah how along the supply chain management ya, there are risks everywhere. Okay, there are risks everywhere. So how do you actually manage risk? Okay, risk pooling ni kan, one example is like, let's say you have inventories ataupun supplies, you get it from multiple locations. Okay, in order to reduce the risk, but when you get your supplies from various locations, there's a chance that it's not in sync. Nanti supply tu tak sampai kat you pada masa yang sama, therefore you cannot start your production nak produce pineapple jam. So what you can do is you try to get the inventories or your supplies from multiple locations into one locations. Okay, that's one thing lah. And then perhaps you can reduce, parts and product variability. For example, your pineapple jam, you dapatkan label daripada supplier juga. Instead of dapatkan pada supplier, you try to produce your own label. Okay. And then green supply chain. Green supply chain referring to sustainability, right? Supply chain is a huge process and it takes every day throughout the year for so many years. So imagine you use a lot of, for example, boxes to deliver all these end products. We use logistic use minyak kenderaan that pollute the air. And then perhaps we use plastic bags, to package and all that. So when doing supply chain, you might want to consider going for green supply chain. Okay, so of course, the objective of supply of green is to make sure that we do our present needs. What we do today is in order to do not compromise the future. So kalau sekarang pun we use lots of things that pollute the environment, so there is no future for the future generations. So that's why we need to go for green supply chain so that we can sustain human and social resources. So that tak adalah kita dah guna all the resources now, dah guna all the pokok-pokok lah to produce kotak. We use all sorts of things. And then nanti by one time dah tak ada pokok kat earth. That's why it's important for us to go green, right? So it can be cost effective and profitable as well. Okay, alright. So and then all parties in supply chain can contribute to green supply chain. Okay, so for example, manufacturers, suppliers use quality, recycle water to do whatever processes that need water, and then use natural gas vehicles. All right, encourage your workers to work from home so that it reduced the usage of petrol in traveling. Then if you remember in 2020 where the entire world is on shutdown masa early COVID, and then people have to stay home, so very limited vehicle that travel on the road. By masa tu our environment punya carbon pollution has reduced so greatly. Okay, and then you can also use eco-friendly packing materials, and also use energy efficient kilang you, manufacturer you, use energy efficient facilities instead of just using electricity. Okay. Alright, next, IT, a supply chain enabler. Right. IT technology, IT, it enables supply chains via e-business, okay, using EDI and barcode and point of sale. So e-business and EDI, you know already. And then barcode and point of sale is when when we check out beli barang kan, ada scan kan guna barcode. So that actually what happened masa scan tu, it's not just about paying, for customer paying, displaying on the screen. It actually create a data stream to the inventory. So checking out like, okay, you beli Colgate, okay, one Colgate is reduced from the inventory of that kedai. So that is the point, the whole point of using barcode and point of sale actually, to check and balance the inventory. Okay, so RFID is a technology that can send product data from an item to a radio via radio waves. So RFID is very efficient, being especially if you want to track product movements daripada keluar pada manufacturer, daripada supplier, so that you can track the movement of the supplies that you ordered from your supplier. And bila sampai, you can check whether it's actually enough or not. And then when you start, when the product's ready, you send it to the distributor and to retailer. All this tracking can be used by the tracking can use RFID, so that we know all products are being sent timely. Okay, and of course, supply chain management can use internet, and then in a more advanced setting, you can actually produce things by build to order, meaning that when you have ordered, you produce. So meaning this one. With this, you intend to produce things that is like, tak membazir lah, meaning that you produce things according to what are being ordered. Okay, but again, this require a very good internet, require a good model of communication between supplier and customer. Okay, so this is how EDI works. It links supply chain members. Ini saya tak nak keen sangat cakap kan, sebab EDI dah tahu apa-apa. So basically this is what I'm talking about. Alright. So the benefits of e-business and supply chain, of course, like I've been saying this right from the beginning, you save lots of money, because you manage to lower the transaction cost, because there's less error, everything is being produced timely. And then a reduction of intermediary roles. So basically, if you have in some businesses, manufacturers sell directly to retailers. Bila menggunakan e-business dan menggunakan supply chain, dia tak go through retailers. Tak go through distributor. So bila tak ada intermediary role macam tu, you intend to cut costs so that you can sell your products at cheaper price, gain more profits. And then, of course, because it's efficient, supply chain response time is faster. Okay, wider presence and increased visibility between you and your all parties that are involved in supply chain. And then, of course, customers have more choices and more informations. Improved service. Collections and analysis of huge amounts of customers' data and preference, because everything are being stored in the system. So you have a lot of amount of data which you can analyze for you to make better predictions on manufacturing and sales. And of course, on supply chain management, you can like access the global markets, not just somewhere around you. All right. And then EDI also, for supply chain management, EDI is computer-to-computer exchange of document in standard format, where we do purchasing, shipping, and receiving all the things. Yeah. And then it improve customer service, reduce paperwork, increase productivity, and improve billing and cost efficiency, and reduce bill bullwhip effect through information sharing. Okay, so these are the benefits using EDI in supply chain management. Okay, and barcodes are automated data collection system. Barcode, when we scan a product using a barcode, it contains informations, and like I said, it provides tracking informations. So therefore, at the checkout, at the point of sales, we can update inventory. You can also analyze the trends of, okay, how many people like perhaps buy pineapple jams today, at one time of the month, or what day of the month that actually ramai orang beli pineapple jams, So those are the things that information that you can get, and you can understand the trend of buying. This is RFID. So RFID, it uses radio waves to transfer data from chip to a reader. So therefore, like I said, it provides the visibility of product location. So when the product moves on shipping, you know where is it. So, and then also continuous inventory monitoring, because data are being shipped, being transferred using radio waves. So you can consistently monitoring where are your inventory are going around. Okay, therefore, when you use RFID, you do not need a lot of human beings to manage the inventory, because every single thing you can put RFID code there, RFID tag there. So just by monitoring, you can monitor your inventory through systems. Therefore, it reduce the cost. Sebab kita kurang ambil human punya power, human punya labor to manage inventory. However, RFID is not standardized yet. It's different RFID, have different standards. So therefore, if company A using RFID A, company B using RFID B, and then it's quite difficult to track because it's not standardized. Dia bukan macam internet. Internet is a standardized protocol, HTTPS kan. So everybody use internet guna the same protocol. But this one is to track RFID is not like that. So RFID, this is what I'm saying. So when RFID packages leave through the distribution center, you can put RFID there, and then when it reaches the store, there's a person that can track the inventory based on the RFID that are being put at the product. So we know which products goes which distribution center, perhaps in the logistic, lorry, kapal, and then the employee or the person in charge can find the items whether it's in the shelf ataupun dia ada dekat lorry shipping to another location. So everything can be tracked. Okay, you tak payah pening check borang, check buku, kertas semua. Everybody just by monitoring RFID system. Okay, so which is actually good. Even sampai dekat retailer shop, every single products ada RFID. It's not like one box satu RFID. Every single piece of your final end product has its own RFID. Therefore, walaupun it's being displayed dekat rak, dekat kedai, you can actually put the RFID there, and then boleh track lah sama ada when it is finally how many left, how many being sold to customers. Okay. So basically, supply chain ni, kalau it's good if it can be integrate with all of chain members. Itulah supplier, manufacturer, logistic, distributor, retailers. Okay, so kalau if everyone can integrate into the same supply chain, would be good because it reduce bullwhip effect. So if there's a problem in the in producing the products, it can be detected, and then you can take faster response to solve the problem. Therefore, your distributor or retailer have more trust and confidence in you because you are able to tackle any issues in production earlier. Alright, not only that, it's not just about sharing information. If every parties in supply chain are integrated, in fact, every parties can be involved in, it's not just supplier, supplier is not just manufacturer buy pineapples daripada supplier, buy sugar daripada supplier. No, it's not just that. Even the supplier themselves, knowing that if they are in the supply chain integration, they know that how many actually pineapple they need to produce for manufacturers to produce pineapple jam. So they will plan their planting. Okay, so they will know trees of pineapples go to waste sebab tak ada orang nak beli. they can actually plan sebab dia orang tahu manufacturer need this much. That's how good is supply chain it is. Okay, and then of course by that you can lower the cost because you produce things, you plant your pineapples, you produce your sugars based on what is being planned. Okay, so therefore you tak adalah cost yang membazir, and then all your resources are being utilized higher, and then of course it improve customer service because you have the right information. So when some informations are being requested, you just look into the supply chain systems and it's there. Okay, so when everybody plan together, all parties plan together in producing pineapple jam, you can actually plan also the workflow, the productions, the operations, and the procurement. Okay, so production is more efficient, fast response, improve service, and your products reach to the market faster. Okay, and then of course, you can actually, because based on the information you receive, you can penetrate new markets because you can do some predictions, you understand the customer behavior, therefore you can try to sell your pineapple jams elsewhere, right? So it encourages the creations of new products as well. Maybe you look at certain area, the pineapple jam tak berapa laku, but strawberry jam is better. So you trend to produce strawberry jam pula. Therefore, again, if you see anywhere, you can, when we talk about supply chain integrations, it improves efficiency in terms of cost, information management, and also, productions, delivery, everything. And then if you actually have all the informations right, with the right resources, right amounts of resources, human resource ke, barang-barang punya raw material punya resource ke, you can produce pineapple jams in, mass customizations. So collaborative planning, forecasting and replacement, or CPFR, this is where actually two or more companies in supply chain synchronize their demand forecast into a single plan to meet customer demand. So basically, this is what I've been telling daripada tadi. If every parties in supply chain can, be can be integrated into supply chain, this is what happens. Everybody can synchronize their informations and resources to produce end products. Okay. Right, so ERP is one of the supply chain software that are being widely used. It integrates components of a company by sharing and organizing information and data with another parties in supply chain. Okay. All right, any question on supply chain?
Madam.
Ya.
Madam boleh tak tolong ulangkan pasal green supply chain? Apa yang dimaksudkan dengan green tu?
Okay, so green ni actually is a standardized word. Okay, it's a standardized word when we talk about how do we make our environment sustain sampai bila-bila lah. As Muslim kita percaya sebagai sampai kiamat lah kan. So what we are doing now is not just supply chain. What we are doing currently kebanyakannya tidak towards green, tidak towards environment sustainability, where macam kereta, we use our car which is tak apa kata, not efficient friendly, kalau dekat US dah banyak kereta, banyak company, banyak individuals changing to solar car kan, macam Tesla. Okay, sebab it doesn't use any fuel, it's just need charging, so it's very environment friendly. When we treat our environment sekarang ni dengan cara yang baik, our environment can last longer. But if we do not do that, Earth will suffer for our future generation. So that's how we want to go about with our green supply chain. So when we talk about green supply chains, we want all the processes involved in supply chains can be done green. So for example, packaging, we use lots of boxes, plastics. Perhaps when you use, instead of using boxes and plastics, use things that are more sustainable, that are recyclable. Okay, sebab supply chain macam like you order your inventory, you order your supplies all the time. and then you deliver it to your distributor and retailer. All are being put in boxes most of the time. And then it happens every day. Thousands of boxes are being used. So when we use lots of boxes, it's not, boxes comes from pokok. We use pokok untuk develop, untuk produce kotak, untuk hasilkan kotak. So this is, it's not very green, it's not very sustainable sebab a lot of trees needed to be cut down. So that's why it is suggested that in green supply chain, use eco-friendly packing materials. Okay, and then kalau vehicles, use fuel efficiency of vehicles, natural gas. Kalau if you can afford, if there's in Malaysia tak ada banyak lagi teknologi ni, smart car ni tak banyak lagi, tapi kalau kat US dah banyak, kat US, kat UK, they are moving towards kereta-kereta yang tak payah pakai fuel, sebab our fuel ni is not environment friendly, dia banyak release carbon. Okay, and then use recycled water. Instead of getting water daripada sungai, laut semua, use water that are recycle the water that you use to continue your production. And also instead of using electricity in your kilang ke, warehouse ke, manufacturing ke, use energy efficient. For example, use solar. Okay, but what the thing about solar is dia punya initial investment is mahal. Tapi for the long run, it's way cheaper than paying electricity bills every month. So when you use solar, it's better. Okay, so it makes the environment more green and sustains longer. Am I answering your question?
Yes, madam. Thank you, madam.
Alright, so let's move on to another another part of chapter 2, B2B is CRM, Customer Relationship Management. So basically, for this chapter, you should understand the definition of CRM. Why is it important for you to understand your customer? What are the methods for you to investigate, customer and seller? Because we are doing e-commerce kan, we do not see them depan-depan. So how do we trust them? By doing investigation background, and then understand supplier information background, and maybe use mobile apps and social networks for marketing purposes. So CRM is a term that refers to practices, strategies, and technologies that company use to manage and analyze customer interactions and data throughout the customer life cycle, with the goal of improving business relationship with customers, assisting in customer retentions, and driving sales growth. Okay, so basically CRM is talking about how an organization should communicate and manage their customer. Okay, so of course with the internet, there's electronic customer relationship management. Okay, it allows people, organizations to communicate with their customer on sales, on delivery, and after sales service. Okay, nowadays CRM also is being supported by using email, online marketing, online purchase, online banking, interaction chat, phone calls, social media, and so on. Okay, so why do we need to understand our customer? We as human beings, even if we see ourselves as customer, our interests change. Okay, so we do not like one thing forever. Over the time, we would like to have something different, or we would like some improvement in the products that we always use. Okay, so that is why it's important for you to understand your customers, so that you know what are their evolving customer interests. When you understand evolving customer interests, how customers' interest changes, you understand what they do need, and then from there you can actually produce products or services that can cater their ever-changing interest. Okay, so therefore tak adalah you keep selling the same thing, providing the same service, but customer is not buying it, alright, because they have changed interest. So you lose, rugi, tak untung. Okay? And then also it's important to establish relationship, as I said earlier in the previous chapters, I think. Retaining an existing customer, the cost is lower than try to gain new customer. So therefore, if you already know your customer, you can actually, be kind to them, establish relationship with them. Therefore, they can maintain to become your loyal customer. Okay. And then also, again, this is very related to understand customers' needs is very much related to the evolving customer interest. Again, when you understand how customer needs changes, you are able to produce things or services that meet their needs. Okay, therefore you can, your company can deliver product solutions or services that really make customer happy. And then also you can focus marketing strategy. When you understand your customer, you know how to market your product or services according to what they like. All right. So when you do the right marketing to the right people with the right technique, right strategy, you actually reduce costs rather than doing marketing blindly. Okay. And then the result of doing focusing marketing strategy is that you usually you can, even if it's not 100%, a big percentage of customer that you do the marketing to will end up buying your products or services. Okay. So there are many reasons to investigate online business customer. Okay, there's a lot of like frauds going on. All right, because you are doing things online, anybody can be, can pretend, can just lie about their businesses, and you gotta buy. How you gonna buy products in large volumes if you do not know the seller background or the customer background? Okay, so don't forget we are talking about B2B. Okay, let's say you are producing something in Malaysia like pineapple jam, and then you want to find sugar, for example, plastic jar that are being made in China, because it's cheaper there compared to if you buy in Malaysia or Thailand. It's cheaper. The bottle jar are cheaper there. So how do you know the company that are selling that bottle jars to you are a real company? Okay, are not fraud, are not someone pretending to scam you or something. So there are various methods you can use using custom database, Google, and any other search engine, the enterprise website of the customer, enterprise database such as Compass, and then you can use any other channels. For example, if you look into Alibaba platform, you can see the purchasing history of a seller or a buyer in Alibaba. And of course, you can always ask the customer or the seller themselves about whatever you want to inquire. Okay, so this is some of the custom database that you can find in various countries. So United Nations provide comtrade.un.org, so official global trade data. So again, we are talking about B2B, so meaning that these companies, if they are always doing international trade, their data will be on United Nations punya website database. So you know that that company is not a fraud. In India, they have InfoDrive India. In US, they have DataMine, which provide import-export transaction data by the organizations there. And then in India also we have Ximpulse.com. It's a research company that provide analytics information on import, export based in India. And then in Malaysia, we have trade.stats.gov.my, provide Malaysia import-export official data. So it's all reliable. So if you see the name of the company there, so it's safe to say that these companies, it's safe for you to do business with. Okay, of course you can search, all right? You can search via Google or any other search engine to identify or to understand, to find out more about that companies, or perhaps, about the companies. Okay, this is on Alibaba. This is an example of Alibaba. So let's say you are looking for a supplier for bottle jar at Alibaba. So what you can do is you can look at their informations here. All right. So and then these informations provide verified data about the company. So here you can read about it. And then if you Google, this is Sync Industries, for example, Sync Industry, if you Google, you can see Sync Industries kat Google saying the same thing what it says in Alibaba as well. So which means okay, Sync Industry ni okay is betul lah. Tapi kalau tiba-tiba and then this is okay, kalau if you look here kat sini ada Sync Industry says they produce full automatic baby diaper making machine, which is not a match. Tadi dia kata dia produce making machine, bolt making machine, screw making machine. Tiba-tiba dia cakap dia ada buat baby diaper making machine. So which is not tak tally. So bila tak tally, it raises doubt kan. Okay. And then ni tadi kita cakap Enterprise Database, Compass and Europages. So Compass is macam online global business directory. So ada 4 million registered businesses and Europages ada 3 million companies registered. Ni ada banyak lagi lah, Expert Focus, CEO Express and many more. Okay. In again, kalau if you're looking supplier in Alibaba platform, kalau you see the name of the seller tu ada tick. Is verified. Maknanya Alibaba has verified this company as a real company lah. Okay. So kalau ada verified tu, it provide extra confirmations that this is a true seller lah. Okay. Again dekat Alibaba ni dia punya platform, they provide lots of informations on the seller. Okay. Jadi like if you can look at the key information, kalau they are active, seller tu active, meaning that they are actually a good business and it's safe for you to do business with. Alright, you boleh tengok all the behaviors lah basically. Tapi kalau if you see that there's no activity happening, the company is not selling, it's not buying, so you may have doubts there. Maybe macam pelik ni, macam betul ke jual machine this, machine itu, machine ini, tapi there's no transaction happening and no any activities, no inquiries, nobody asking anything about the products dekat dia punya page. So it may raise some doubts. But again, of course, if you have so much doubts, you can just always ask the customer / the seller on anything that you want to know, right? You can look for, how do you know? Macam let's say you are a manufacturer tadi kan, how do you know that the supplier tu is someone that you can trust? You can look dia punya number of experience like industry, dia punya production capital, production skill, because kalau it has good production capital and skill, usually it shows that they are very experienced in the industry. And also if the company has product certifications and patent, kalau kat Malaysia barang elektrik kena ada SIRIM certified, that actually increase their credibility lah. So we know that their products have certain standards that are being verified by various relevant bodies. So kita tahu produk dia bagus. And then you can also tengok dia punya, is the company is having a strong position in their industry. Let's say kalau you cakap you want to buy plastic bottle jar untuk pineapple tadi, do they actually are the among the main producer for bottle jar in that particular industry? Okay, if they have, for example, they are in China, tadi kita cakap, let's assume they are in China. If they have maybe they are at the office kat Malaysia, you can always go to the office and look around, ask questions. Usually overseas companies who have offices in other countries, it shows they have very strong customer service at the local or international stations. And of course, if that company it has its own R&D, it's better because from time to time that company will be producing better products kalau dia ada R&D. So these are the things that you can consider lah when actually buying supplies from overseas supplier who you cannot see sebab you beli via online. Okay. Okay, this is actually talking about contohnya macam Alibaba, dia ada satu apps, it's called Ali Supplier. So by using Ali Supplier, it helps you to get informations, do transaction when purchasing your supplies, inventory abroad, faster communications. When kita guna mobile apps, it's all become cepat kan. Alright, so kalau macam Ali Supplier ni, So you can like minta quotation, hantar messages, and then ada push notification, ada social media integration, ada database for trade and e-commerce information, ada they even have a seminar for businesses online, businesses owners, and also they have information on offline events, so which is actually very good. Again, I'll repeat that more than 60% e-commerce traffic comes from mobiles, for mobile device. Therefore, even you as when you are looking for supplies or you are the supplier, alright? So macam you buat you produce pineapple jam study. So basically you are the pineapple jam supplier. So it's good if you can have mobile apps because like I said, more than 60% traffic comes from mobile devices. Okay. So this is how Ali supplier apps looks like. Okay. So it's integrated with all sorts of social media. Okay.